Hello and welcome to this class on quantitative marketing. Previously, we already talked about how to identify your research question, how to identify the best method that you will use to collect your data, and we focused on the questionnaire as the tool that is used to collect quantitative data. We also talked about how to identify your sample and how to make it representative and precise. Today, class is about how to analyze your data. Data collection is over. You will be faced to a database, and your first question is how to analyze my data. And the first step will be to describe the important variable on your data. So you will have to answer to two different questions. The first one is, who are my respondents? So you will need a sample description. And the second one is, what did they answer? And to do this, you can use three types of measures. The first type of measure are frequency distribution measure. The second one are central tendency measures. And the third one are dispersion measures. Let's begin with frequency distribution measure. First of all, what you need to know is that frequency distribution is concerned only one variable at a time. You cannot ask for frequency distribution for two or three variables at the same time. So you are interested in one variable and you will ask for a table that will give you information on frequency counts, frequency percentage, and cumulative percentage of all the values associated with that variable. Let me give you one example. Let's imagine that you ask for the number of absence or days that people are absent from school, let's imagine, and you ask for these 24 students. And for every student, you have the number of days they were absent from classes for the last month. And you can see in the left tables that you have all the answers of the respondents. If you ask for a frequency table, so you will have the counts for every value of the variable, and here we have several modalities. They can be absent 0 days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, or 6 days. And for every possible answer, you have the number of persons who answered this modality, the frequency, and the cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is a sum of the frequency of the first line plus the second line. In the third line, you have the first plus the second plus the third. This table is really interesting to have like a picture of your respondents or of their answers, but it could be better if you can schematize this. And to do this, you can ask for frequency charts. Frequency charts allow you just to see in just one view how your respondents answer to one variable or one question. I would like to focus on one point here. Depending on the nature of your variable, you will not ask for the same charts. If you are faced to a nominal variable or a categorical variable, so people can ask several answers, several modalities, and with no relationship between your modalities, like the gender, woman or man, or age, and you have several categories of age. So in this case, you ask for a pie chart or a bar chart. While if you are faced to a metric variable, so in this case, you will use or you will ask for a histogram. So you can see it on your right here. So let me give you an example on how it works on SPSS software. So to do this, I will open a database that describes the profile of Facebook users. So let's imagine that I used a questionnaire that I distribute to different persons who use Facebook, and I ask them several questions about how they use this social media. So I will open the database using SPSS software, and you can see the database here. You have the name of the variables, Facebook profile, membership duration, profile visibility, gender, age, etc. So when you choose how to view your variables, remember that we already seen this in class. So you can see here that you have the list of your variables and that you have the different values of the variables. So in the case of membership duration, you can see that they can choose between 1 less than 3 months, 2 between 3 months and 1 year, 3 between 1 year and 3 years, etc. Okay, so let's come back to the data view, and we would like to ask for first a frequency tables. So to do this, you choose Analyze Descriptive Statistic. So here it's the French version of SPSS, but it's the same way to do it in English. So Analyze Descriptive Statistics, and logically in English it will be written frequency. So you click on frequency here, and then you will have to choose the variables that you will work on. So as I already said, frequency tables are created for one variable at a time. So let's ask for a frequency table of membership duration to Facebook of our respondents. We also can ask for charts. So the second here is charts, in French is diagram. And you can ask for several types of charts. As our variable, you can see it here, it's a categorical variable. If it was a metric variable, you will see like a small scale, like you see it in age here. But membership duration, they have to choose between several modalities, and there is not a relationship between the different modalities. So in this case, it's a categorical variable, and you cannot ask for a histogram, but you have the choice between the pie chart or the bar chart. In our case, we will ask, let's say that we will ask for a pie chart, and you can ask for the frequency or the percentage. So let's say that percentage is better to have a better representation of your pie chart. We click OK, and then you will see that first you have these tables, that is the frequency tables with the question here, the several possible answers, and the number of persons that choose each answer, and same for percentage or frequency in percentage and cumulative percentage. And the second result will be this pie chart, and you can see here that you have like a picture of how the answers are distributed, and you can see that the majority of your respondents have a Facebook account for more than 5 years. When you double click on this picture or on this chart, you can, by clicking here, you can ask to see the frequency on the charts. You can choose where you would like to put frequency. Okay, let's come back to our slide, and after having asked for frequency distribution, you can also go further by using central tendency measure. There is 3 measures that are the more used in central tendency that we can ask for mean, mode, and median. So the mean, called also average value, is the most commonly used measure of central tendency, and mean is obtained by dividing the sum of your answers by the number of answers that you have. Let me show you how it works if we come back to the examples of the number of day of absence. So here you have 24 students that answered the number of day of absence of last month. And if you need to know what is the mean of number of day of absence, you will simply make the sum of all the number of days of absence and divide it by the number of respondents, here 24. So what is important here to know is that mean can only be calculated on metric variables. So if you, let's imagine, have the variable gender with the different answer 1 or 2, depending if there is a man who answers and coded 1 or a woman who answers coded 2. So asking for the mean, that will be probably 1.5 or 1.6, did not have really sense. So for this reason, mean can only be calculated on metric variable, which is not the case of the mode. The mode is the value that occurs the more frequently. So it will represent like the highest peak of the distribution. So let me give you an example here with the same story of the number of day of absence. And if you take a look to the frequency distribution table, you can see that the modality or the number of days that is the more chosen or the more frequent, and you can see here the number of respondents for each answer, and you can see that the mode will be the answer that is the more frequent, and here is 1 day. So 1 day is the mode of this distribution, means that 1 day is the number of day of absence that is the more frequent with these 24 students. Finally, we can ask for the median of the sample. The median is the number that separates your respondents in two equal frequency. In other terms, when you identify the median, you know that you will have half of your respondents that answer less than the median and the other half that answers more than the median. And this measure can be really interesting in statistics. So